The Seedlings Feast, a narrative journey in 21 dishes. Act 1, The Waters That Remember. Chapter 1, First Tide Broth. Grove Pacific. Element, water plus salt. Resurgent, memory kelp. The Grove Pacific didn't have streets. It had currents. Houses were kelp-woven pods that drifted on tethers, rearranging themselves with the tide. Kids didn't walk to school. They rode the morning flow. The whole city smelled like salt and old songs. Tali arrived at dawn on a canoe. She'd grown herself from mycelium. It was half boat, half mushroom, and it sweated fresh water when it got scared. It was scared now. Old Kino was waiting on the listening platform, a ring of black stone in the center of the grove. He was 80 if he was a day, skin mapped with tattoos of currents, a necklace of shark teeth that clicked when he spoke. He pressed a wet palm to Tali's forehead. The water was warm. The ocean keeps records, child, he said. We burned the libraries. It did not. He didn't ask about her journey. He didn't ask about her mother, lost at sea 5 years back. Seedlings didn't get small talk. They got the work. The work was a knife, a pot, and a strip of kelp that pulsed like a vein. Memory kelp, Kino said. It drinks sound, holds it 100 years, 200. Longer if the water is cold. They dropped it into seawater over a driftwood fire. The pot didn't boil. It sang, low at first, then louder, a humpback song, deep and broken, the kind that travels 1,000 kilometers. Tali knew it from the Dome Bravo archives. This one was dated 2142, the year the black sky started. They're singing about land, Tali whispered. But whales don't care about land. They did, Kino said, when the land was drowning, when the storms wouldn't stop. They sang to guide the boats, to guide us home. We forgot. The kelp didn't. He ladled the broth into a bowl made from a turtle shell. No spoon. Seedlings drank with both hands. Tali drank. The taste was salt and lightning. And then, her mother's voice, not memory, not grief, recorded. The kelp in this zone had crossed paths with her mother's raft 5 years ago, 50 kilometers west. It had absorbed the sound. Tali's mother in the broth, clear as day. If you find this, Tali, keep going. The ocean isn't empty. It's waiting. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you about your grandmother, about Ashland. Tali dropped the bowl. It didn't break. The ocean didn't waste. She was crying. The broth on her lips was saltier now. Good, Kino said. Now the ocean knows you. It will let you pass. It will also ask things of you. That's the trade. He gave her a kelp seed wrapped in waxed paper. It was warm, like it had a heartbeat, for your world tree, so it learns to listen. He stamped her circuit book. First dish, first truth. That night, Tali couldn't sleep. The pods rocked gently. The water below was black. Then it wasn't. Lights, hundreds of them, deep down. Rectangular. Windows. A city, sunken but powered. And in one window, a silhouette. Looking up at her, it raised a hand, not waving, counting. 1 finger, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it was gone. Tali checked her circuit book. On the back page, where there had been nothing, 5 tiny spirals had appeared, drawn in salt. The ocean was waiting indeed. Chapter 2, Reef Mason's Salad. Sunken City of Bohal. Element, earth plus water. Resurgent, mason coral. You dive, and the world changes color. First blue, then green, then gold. Sunken Bohal wasn't a ruin. It was a reef. Mason coral had swallowed the city whole. Jeepneys became anemone homes. Churches became spawning grounds. Power lines were wrapped in coral as thick as Tali's waist. And the coral was clean. It ate rust. It ate poison. It ate the old world and made it alive. The resurgents here were called the Dew. Children, all of them. None over 12. They had gills behind their ears, frilled and pink, and eyes that didn't blink. They weren't born different. They were born after. Leia found Tali first. 10 years old, hair like seaweed, teeth sharp from chewing shell. She could hold her breath for 40 minutes. She proved it by singing a whole verse of a song underwater. Bubbles spelling words. You're the seedling, Leia said, breaking surface. You came to eat. Good. We're hungry too. The Dew didn't hunt. They farmed. Leia showed Tali the gardens. Coral flowers that tasted like mango and ozone. Sea grapes that popped like the sound of rain. The plates were grown overnight. The reef extruded a dish when asked, warm and porous. Ask it, Leia said, but ask nice. Tali knelt on the sand. Please, she said to the reef, may I share a meal? The sand bubbled. A plate rose, steaming gently. Tali almost cried. They made the salad together. No fire, no metal, just hands and teeth, and the reef watching. Tali, why do you stay down here? The groves would take you. Up top is safe. Leia pointed to a wall. The coral had grown over it, but you could see the shape underneath. A mural, people in uniforms, pointing at clouds, clouds raining fire. Leia, up there is where the breaking happened. Down here is where the fixing started. We're not hiding. We're holding the foundation. If we leave, it cracks. As they ate, the coral plate bonded to Tali's fingers for 3 seconds. It was reading her, checking, then it let go. Leia, it likes you. It says you're mixed, like the water, salt and fresh, old and new. Leia gave her a coral seed for your tree, so it remembers how to hold when the weight comes. She stamped Tali's book with her thumb. The ink was squid. When Tali surfaced, Leia's voice followed, warped by water. Leia, tell the groves. The vaults are opening. The old world is waking up, and it's not alone down here. Tali looked back. Leia was pointing down, not at the reef. Deeper, where the light didn't go, where the 5-fingered light had been. Chapter 3, Stormglass Sashimi. Skydock Manila. Element, air plus water. Resurgent, cyclone tuna. Jay lost 2 fingers to the storm wall. Price of admission, he said, grinning as he strapped Tali into the glider. You give the storm something, it lets you through. They punched the wall. The world became noise. Wind that wanted to unmake her. Rain that hit like gravel. Tali screamed, and the storm ate the sound. Then calm, Skydock Manila floated in the eye of a permanent typhoon. It was a mess of a city. Ships welded to towers. Rice terraces on aircraft carriers. Kids flying kites that were also solar panels. In the middle, the stormglass. A spire of cracked screens and copper that hummed in your bones. Captain Maris had a barometer under her skin. The needle jumped when she saw Tali. You want the dish, Maris said. Everyone wants the dish. No one wants the debt. The debt was this. To eat stormglass sashimi, you had to watch the storm take something. Maris took Tali to the edge. The storm wall was a gray cliff of water and wind, moving 200 kilometers per hour. Inside it, shadows. Big ones. Cyclone tuna, Maris said. They live in there. They eat lightning. They are faster than wind. The stormglass calls one when it's hungry. And when one runs the wall, the storm gets weaker. 0.01% at a time. They are unwinding the war. War? Tali asked. Maris touched the stormglass. The hum went up an octave. The storm wall bulged like a bruise. A blur shot out. Silver blue. Dead before it hit the deck. Cooked by lightning, flesh seared rare. 3 meters of lightning-fed tuna, smoking. Tali's hands shook as she plated it. Glass from sand turned to crystal by old-world bombs. 1 drop of calamansi foam. She ate. The storm spoke. Pressure dropped behind her eyes. She saw satellites, hundreds, firing invisible beams into clouds, steering typhoons like cars, parking one over Manila for 6 days. The water rose. The city drowned, not from ice melt, from orders. She saw the man who gave them. His face, her face, Ashland. Tali choked. Maris, breathe. First bite is truth. Second bite is choice. Tali took the second bite. It tasted like ozone, and her grandmother's guilt. The weather war, Tali said. The black sky wasn't just bombs. No, Maris said. The needle in her chest spun. We bombed the land, and we bombed the sky. The sky is still bleeding. These fish are the bandages. Maris gave her a glass seed, so your tree learns to listen to storms. That night, the hum stopped. Jay kicked her door open. Something's wrong. They ran to the edge. The storm wall was gone. The sky was full of stars, and moving among them, lights. Hundreds, in formation. Satellites, waking up. The vaults are opening, Maris said, and they're looking for us. One light broke formation. It fell, slow, deliberate, not a shooting star, a descent. It was coming to Skydock. Chapter 4, Trankroot Stew. Mariana Groveline. Element, fire plus water. Resurgent, thermal vines. The lights in the sky were following her. Tali could see them at night, 3 or 4 at a time, moving like fish. They didn't blink. They watched. She followed them down. The Mariana Groveline was a string of groves built along the edge of the trench, where the crust was thin and the earth bled heat. The air smelled like sulfur and soup. Thermal vines grew here, roots that drank lava, leaves that tasted like smoked meat when boiled. The groves were built around bunker doors, massive, round, old world. Each one had a number. Each one was warm to the touch. Bunker 7 was different. It was open. The man who walked out was not 200 years old. He was 30, barefoot, wearing a jumpsuit that didn't fit the era. He saw Tali and smiled like he'd been waiting. "Tali Ashland," he said. "You're late." "Tali, how do you know my name?" "I've been watching the satellites," he said. "They've been watching you. We all have." His name was Rurk. He didn't blink either. He made her the stew. Thermal vine root, trench water, salt. It cooked in a pot, heated by the bunker itself. The bunker was humming. Rurk, old world, built these to ride out the black sky. Geothermal power, cryobeds, seed vaults. We were supposed to sleep 100 years, then reseed the world. Tali, wait, Rurk, the rest are still sleeping. I got woke up early. By you, your circuit. Every dish you eat sends a ping. You're turning the keys. Tali ate. The stew was hot and dark, and it tasted like the center of the earth. With it came heat, not temperature, but knowledge. She saw the bunkers, thousands, under every ocean, every mountain. She saw the cryobeds, not just people, animals, seeds, weather machines, weapons. She saw the countdown clock in Bunker 7. It hit 0 last night. Tali, what happens now? Rurk, now we see what survived us. He gave her a vine seed. It was hot for your tree, so it knows how to drink fire. He walked to the edge of the Groveline and looked up. A satellite was directly overhead. Lurk, they're not just watching, Seedling. They're choosing. He stepped off the edge, into the trench. He didn't fall. He swam down into the black, without a suit. The bunker door didn't close behind him. From inside, Tali heard a second set of footsteps. Chapter 5. Salted dawn fruit. Salt flats of Toba. Element, salt plus light. Resurgent, dawn melon. Nothing lived in Toba. The salt flats went to the horizon, white and silent, and flat enough to see the curve of the earth. The wind didn't blow. The birds didn't fly. It was a place the world had forgotten, except for the grove. It was a circle of blind people. They were astronomers. They wore lenses of polished salt over their eyes, and they read the stars by touch, feeling the heat on their skin, the gravity in their bones. Sight is a lie, said Elder Saul, 90 and paper thin. The old world looked too much. That's why they burned it. The dawn melon grew only here. 1 fruit per plant, 1 plant per acre. It ripened only at sunrise, for 60 seconds. If you missed it, it turned to salt. Tali and the astronomers waited in the dark. No one spoke. Then the horizon changed. The sun came up, and Tali understood. It was dull, pale, like a lamp behind wax paper. Elder Saul, the old world fired dust into the sky to cool the earth, to undo the fire. It worked. Then the war came, and no one turned it off. We have lived in winter for 200 years, child. The sun, you know, is a rumor. They cut the dawn melon. It glowed. Tali ate. For 1 second, she saw the real sun. It was white. It was violent. It was beautiful enough to hurt. She saw the world before the black sky. Blue, green, loud. She saw it end. Not in fire, in shade. The dust went up. The light went out. The crops failed. Then the bombs. Then the storms. The fruit turned to salt on her tongue. Tali, why show me this? Elder Saul, because the dust is thinning. The satellites you woke are burning it off. The real sun is coming back, and the world is not ready. He gave her a salt seed for your tree, so it remembers how to weep. You'll need the water. As she left Toba, the blind astronomers turned their faces up. The sky is getting louder, one said. Tali looked up. The satellites were closer now, and they were arranged in a spiral. Chapter 6. Leviathan's Gift. Whalefall Station. Element, water plus death. Resurgent, song whales. The song whale was a mountain. It had beached itself 80 years ago and never rotted. It sang. Even dead, it sang. And the song made the water around it clear. Fish bred in its shadow. Coral grew on its bones. The grove called Whalefall Station was built in its ribs. To eat the dish, you had to go inside. Tali swam into its mouth, down the throat, into the heart. The heart was a cathedral, and and it was warm. The gift was the whale's last breath, frozen into broth. Tali drank it from a bowl made of baleen. The song went into her, not her ears, her bones. She understood. Song whales weren't just whales. They were the planet's lungs. They dove, ate carbon, died, and sank. They buried the old world's poison. The black sky made more carbon than the earth could hold. So the whales grew and sang deeper. They were cleaning the ocean with their deaths. Tali, thank you, she said to the heart. The heart pulsed. Once a door opened. Inside was a cryobed. Inside the cryobed was a person wearing a Dome Bravo uniform. The name on the uniform, Tali. Her face, older, scarred. The cryobed screen blinked. Cycle 12 failed. Initiate cycle 13. Y/N. Tali's hands shook. She touched the glass. The other Tali opened her eyes. Don't, the other Tali said. Don't wake me again. Let me stay dead. The screen went dark. Tali left the heart. The song followed her. The elder of Whalefall gave her a seed of whalebone for your tree, so it knows how to carry grief. As Tali's canoe left, the song whale stopped singing. For the first time in 80 years, the waters started to cloud. Chapter 7, Glass Shore Grains. Vitreous Beach. Element, earth plus glass. Resurgent, silica grass. Vitreous Beach was beautiful. The sand was glass. The waves were quiet. The whole coast glittered like a broken mirror. This was a bomb site. The old world had glassed it, turned sand to crystal with heat. But silica grass grew here now, blades of green that ate glass and sweated sand. They were rebuilding the beach, one grain at a time. The grove baked bread from it. The bread was clear. You could see through it. Elder, the old world broke the world into pieces. We are making it whole. One grain, one meal, one forgiveness at a time. Tali ate. The bread had no taste. Then it had every taste. She saw through time. She saw the beach before. Kids, kites, a dog. She saw the flash. The air turned to fire. The sand turned to glass. The kids turned to shadow. She saw the first blade of silica grass. One day later, it grew from a seed that fell from the sky. Not a satellite, not a plane. It fell like a star, but slow, like it was being lowered. Tali, what was that seed? Elder, we don't know, but it wasn't ours. The world has gardeners, seedling. Not all of them are us. The elder gave her a handful of new sand. This is what forgiveness looks like. It's slow. It's sharp at first. Then it's soft. Your tree will need it. Tali put the sand with her other seeds. Kelp, coral, glass, vine, salt, whalebone, sand. 7 seeds, 7 truths. The black sky wasn't just bombs. It was weather. It was dust. It was satellites. It was bunkers. It was cycles. And something else was watching. Tali looked at her circuit book. The next page had appeared. Act 2, the lands that rose. The water forgave us. The land remembers everything. Chapter 8, Canopy Heart Feast. Grove canopy. Element, air plus vegetation. Resurgent, world trees. The land didn't rise. It reached. After the oceans dropped, the roots came next. World trees, grown from old world seed vaults Tali's ancestors buried, tore through concrete and swallowed cities whole. Now they held up the new continents like pillars, their canopies so wide they made their own weather. Grove canopy was built in the branches of the first one, a city with no ground, walkways of living wood, houses grown, not built. The air smelled like sap and rain, and something older than language. Tali's canoe couldn't climb. The trees sent a lift for her, a pod of woven vines that carried her a kilometer straight up, past layers of fog, past flocks of seedbirds that planted forests with every flight. The elder here was not a person. It was the tree. Its name was First Root. It spoke by dropping leaves. The leaves spelled words when they hit the platform. Welcome, seedling. You are late. Tali, late for what? A leaf fell. The feast, the dish was canopy heart, not the tree's heart. It didn't have one. The heart of the fruit it grew once a century. A fruit the size of a house, with flesh like honeyed wood and seeds that sang. To harvest it, Tali had to climb inside. The fruit was hollow, warm. The walls pulsed. The air tasted like every forest that ever was. In the center, a single seed, gold and humming. First root leaves falling. 8. Tali cut a sliver of the flesh. It bled sap. She ate, and the forest entered her. She was root. She was branch. She was every year since the black sky. She felt the bombs as heat. She felt the dust as winter. She felt the satellites as splinters. And she felt something else, a hand, planting the first world tree seed 250 years ago. The hand wasn't human. The skin was bark. Tali, who planted you? We did, the leaves said. When you stopped, the seed in the center cracked. Inside was not a seed. It was a data crystal. Old world. It projected a map. Bunkers, satellites, and one more thing, a ship, buried under grove canopy, marked ARK. First root. The sky is opening. The ground must too. The tree gave her a seed. It was green and gold, and it had a heartbeat. For your tree, so it knows how to reach. As Tali descended, the canopy shook. Far below, at the base of First Root, the earth cracked. Something was digging up. Chapter 9, Mountain's Breath Soup. Grove Summit. Element, earth plus air. Resurgent, stone singers. Grove Summit was a city carved into a mountain that hadn't existed 200 years ago. The resurgents here were stone singers, people whose throats had evolved to hum at frequencies that shaped rock. They sang canyons open. They sang water up from the deep. They sang the mountain awake. The dish was soup made from air, not metaphor. The stone singers stood at the peak and hummed until the clouds bled. The condensation ran down channels into a bowl. They added moss, lichen, and a stone that dissolved. Elder Mon, whose throat glowed when she spoke. The old world cut mountains down. We sing them up. The dish is the mountain's breath. Drink and you will hear it. Tali drank. The mountain inhaled. And Tali heard everything. She heard the satellites in orbit clicking. She heard the bunkers underground humming. She heard the ark under grove canopy turning over in its sleep. She heard the black sky, not the explosion, the silence after. The mountain had been a plain then. It rose because the earth was trying to breathe through the dust. Elder Mon, the mountain, remembers the shape of the world before. It is trying to sing it back. She gave Tali a stone seed for your tree, so it knows how to hold the sky down. That night, the mountain sang without the stone singers. A low note. All the satellites in orbit shifted. They were listening. Chapter 10, Dunlung Roast. Grove Dune. Element, fire plus earth. Resurgent, glass serpents. The desert was not dead. Grove Dune sailed it. The city was built on the backs of glass serpents. Massive, translucent resurgents that swam through sand, exhaling oxygen, turning desert into soil. Where they passed, grass followed. The dish was roast from a serpent that chose to die. They only did it once a decade, when their bodies were full of stored carbon. To eat it was to eat the desert's forgiveness. The elder was a child of 8, because the glass serpents only spoke to children. Her name was Sora. Her eyes were pure white. Sora, they say you're ashland. They say your blood started the fire. Tali, I didn't. Sora, no, but you carry it, so you eat it. The roast was clear like glass. Inside, you could see the sand the serpent had eaten. You could see the old world highway it had digested. You could see a car, a toy, a bone. Tali ate. The desert spoke. It showed her the bombs, not the impact, the choice. Rooms of people arguing. Her grandmother's face, younger. If we don't, they will, she said. Better our fire than their winter. The desert didn't judge. It just showed. Sora, the sand remembers heat. That's all. It doesn't hate. It's too busy becoming soil. She gave Tali a seed of glass for your tree, so it knows how to cool. As Tali left, a glass serpent rose from the dune. It looked at the sky. It opened its mouth, and it sang, a note like the stone singers. The satellites answered, one beam of light, from orbit to desert. The sand where it hit turned to grass. Instantly, the war wasn't over. It was just changing weapons. Chapter 11, Riverheart Curry. Grove Flow. Element, water plus vegetation. Resurgent, River Titans. Grove Flow was a city that moved. The River Titans were beavers the size of houses, but their dams weren't wood. They were memory. They built from the debris of the old world and made it flow again. A city block became a waterfall. A stadium became a lake. The dish was curry made from Riverheart, a root that only grew where a river changed course. It tasted like every meal ever eaten by a riverbank. The elder was a woman who had gills and lungs both. She could drown and not die. Elder Nami. The old world choked the rivers. Dams, concrete, they stopped the veins. The black sky broke the dams. The river titans are fixing the flow. Tali ate. She became the river. She felt every bomb that hit a bridge, every levee that broke, every body that went downstream. She felt the satellites too. They were watching the rivers, measuring flow. Elder Nami, they are deciding, Seedling, if the waters run right, maybe they don't need to burn us again. She gave Tali a seed that was always wet for your tree, so it knows how to bend. That night, the river titans stopped working. They stood in the water, looking up. The satellites were drawing lines, mapping watersheds, choosing. Chapter 12, Ash Leaf Salad. Grove Caldera. Element, fire plus earth. Resurgent, Phoenix Vines. Grove Caldera was built in a volcano. It should have been dead, but Phoenix Vines grew here. Plants that drank magma and bloomed in ash. The city was fireproof because it was fire. The dish was a salad of leaves that had burned and regrown in your mouth. The elder had burned scars in the shape of a spiral. Like Tali's neck, Elder Ash, you have the mark. Ashland, the fire starters, the fire enders. Tali, I didn't start anything. Elder Ash, no, but you'll choose how it ends. Tali ate. The leaf burned her tongue, then healed it, then burned it again. She saw the black sky from inside it. The bombs were not the end. The ash was. It went up. It stayed up. It swallowed the sun. The dust from Chapter 5. The winter. She saw her grandmother in a room, watching the screens. We thought it would settle in a decade, her grandmother said. It didn't. We made a night that lasted 200 years. Elder Ash, the vines grow in ash. We eat ash. We are ash, and we are still here. He gave her a seed of charcoal for your tree, so it knows how to burn without dying. The volcano rumbled. It wasn't erupting. It was talking, and the satellites were answering back. Chapter 13, Root Mother's Broth. Grove Deep. Element, earth plus dark. Resurgent, mycorrhoot network. Grove Deep had no sky. It was underground, in the root network of all the world trees. The city was carved from root and fungus. The light was bioluminescence. The resurgent here was the mycorrhoot, a fungus that connected every tree, every grove. It was the internet of the new world. The dish was broth made from root. It tasted like every conversation ever had. The elder was blind, but she saw more than anyone. Elder Micah, the roots remember Seedling. They remember the bombs. They remember the satellites. They remember the ark. Tali, what is the ark? Elder Micah, drink. Tali drank. She became the network. She felt every grove, every seedling that failed, every one that died. She felt the bunkers, full of sleeping people and weapons. And one more thing, seeds, not plants, people, grown, not born. The ark was a ship full of them. She felt the satellites. They weren't old world. They were new, built after the black sky by something else. They were pruning the planet, deciding what lived. She felt the world trees. They were not just trees. They were antennas. Elder Micah, the black sky was 3 wars, child. You versus you versus the sky, and you versus the gardeners. Tali, gardeners. Elder Micah, the ones who planted the silica grass, the ones who buried the ark, the ones who are waking up now because you're lighting up the trees. She gave Tali a seed of root for your tree, so it knows how to listen down. The roots shook. Above, on the surface, every world tree lit up, like a circuit, completing. Chapter 14, the still earth plate. Grove epi, element all plus none. Resurgent, the land itself. Grove epi was at the epicenter, the exact spot where the first bomb of the black sky hit. The ground was glass, then sand, then soil, then grass. 200 years of healing in one place. There was no elder. The land was the elder. There was no dish. The dish was stillness. Tali sat on the grass. She ate nothing, and the land fed her anyway. She saw it all. The bombs, the dust, the weather war, the satellites, the bunkers, the ark, the gardeners tall, thin, bark-skinned, with eyes like stars. They came after. They found a burnt world. They planted the world trees. They built the satellites. They seeded the bunkers with new people. They were waiting for humanity to choose, heal or be pruned. Tali's circuit was the test. Every dish was a question. Can you eat the past without becoming it? Can you carry fire without burning? Can you listen to the land? The land gave her the last seed. It was soil, just soil, for your tree, so it knows how to be home. Tali stood, 14 seeds, 14 truths. The ground hummed. From the west, from grove canopy, the ark broke the surface. It was not a ship. It was a tree, a world tree made of metal and light and people, and it was flying. To her, Act 3, the skies that judge. The water forgave. The land remembered. The sky decides. Chapter 15, Starfall Soup. Grove Orbit. Element, light plus fire. Resurgent, null shards. The ark didn't fly. It fell up. Tali watched it rise from grove canopy. A tree of metal and light. Its roots pulling free of the earth like it was changing its mind about gravity. The satellites didn't shoot it down. They moved aside. They were making room. Grove Orbit wasn't a place on the map. It was a place the map became. The skydock from Chapter 3 had been tethered. This was different. The world trees in the new continents had grown up for 200 years, and their highest branches had touched the edge of space. Now they wove together, forming a canopy above the clouds, a city of leaves and solar film and old-world ship hulls, held together by light. The air was thin. Tali's lungs burned. The gills from Chapter 8 tried to come back and failed. This air wasn't for breathing. It was for listening. The resurgents here were null shards, fragments of satellites that had fallen, but never landed. They floated, spinning, reflecting the sun in broken pieces. They sang in radio waves. The elder wasn't human. It was a null shard the size of a house, covered in bark. It had grown around the old world metal. It spoke by refracting light through its body, words appearing on the mist. Seedling, you climb. Why, Tali, to finish the circuit, to bloom the tree. The tree is the circuit. You are the signal. The dish was starfall soup. It wasn't cooked. It was caught. Every night, debris fell from orbit. Old world junk, gardeners' cast-offs, pieces of the black sky. The null shards would catch a piece, hold it in magnetic fields, and let the sun boil it into broth. You drank the sky. Tali held the bowl. It was a piece of hull from a satellite. The soup inside was silver, and it moved wrong. She drank, and the sky opened. She saw the black sky as it happened, not from the ground, from above. The bombs were first, thousands of them, then the dust, rolling out like a blanket. Then the weather war, satellites steering storms, fighting each other, burning out. Then the silence, and then them, the gardeners, ships, not metal but grown, like trees that learned to swim in vacuum. They arrived 20 years after the black sky. They found a planet choking. They didn't invade. They pruned. They seeded the world trees to hold the atmosphere together. They built the satellites to burn off the dust. They filled the bunkers with new people, grown from what was left. They were not gods. They were gardeners, and every garden gets weeded. Null shard. The circuit is a question. Are you weed, or are you fruit? Tali understood. The 21 dishes weren't a ritual. They were a test. Each seed she collected was a vote. From the ocean, from the land. Now the sky was voting. The null shard gave her a seed. It was glass and light for your tree, so it knows how to see. As she took it, every satellite in orbit turned toward her, and the Ark docked with Grove orbit. The door opened. The gardeners were waiting. Chapter 16, Solar Marrow Roast. The Ark, element fire plus light. Resurgent, the gardeners. They looked like trees that had learned to be sorry. Tall, thin, bark for skin, leaves for hair, eyes like slow fire. They didn't walk. They grew from place to place, roots moving under the floor. The one in front spoke without a mouth. The sound came from the air itself. Gardener, Tali Ashland, you carry the fire. You carry the seed. You carry the end. The Ark was a world tree inside. Rings of chambers, each one a biome. Desert, ocean, forest, city, all of them growing. The people in the cryobeds from chapter 4 weren't human. Not anymore. They were grafts, human and gardener, and something else. The dish was solar marrow. The Ark grew it from sunlight and memory. It was served in the bone of a star, a piece of solar sail, black and shimmering. Gardener, ate, become, Tali ate. The sun entered her. She saw the gardener's choice. They could burn the earth clean, start over. They'd done it before, on other worlds. The world trees were life rafts. The satellites were magnifying glasses. The bunkers were seed packets. Or they could graft, take humanity, with all its fire and breakage, and weave it into something new, something that wouldn't bomb its own sky. But grafts can reject. Tali, why me? Gardener, because you ate the ocean. You ate the land. You ate the war. You are the only one who is mixed. You are the graft. They gave her a seed. It was gold, and it beat like a heart for your tree, so it knows how to become. The Ark shuddered. The gardeners looked up. Something was coming from higher up, beyond orbit. The gardeners didn't plant the silica grass. Something else did. Chapter 17, Void Fruit Ice. The still point, element cold plus dark. Resurgent, the watchers. The Ark went up, past the satellites, past the gardener's ships, into the dark. There was a place there, a station, not old world, not gardener, older. The resurgents here were watchers, shapes made of nothing, visible only because the stars bent around them. The dish was void fruit ice. It didn't melt. It didn't freeze. It stopped. It was a moment of time, plated. Watcher, not a sound, a lack of sound. You are the 13th. Tali, 13th what? Watcher, to reach here. The others failed. Tali ate the ice, and time stopped. She saw the universe. She saw worlds like hers. Some burned, some were pruned, some were grafted, some were left alone, and they ate themselves. She saw the gardeners. They were not the first. They were tended to by the watchers. The black sky was not a mistake. It was a test. gardeners seeded the bunkers, the satellites, the world trees. Then they left to see if humanity would choose to heal, or if the gardeners would have to come back and prune. Tali's circuit was the final exam. Watch her eat the past or plant the future. They gave her a seed. It was black. It was empty for your tree, so it knows how to be still. The watchers turned, and Tali saw what they were watching. A ship, bigger than the ark, bigger than continents. It was arriving to grade the test. Chapter 18, Judgment Grain Bowl, Grove Orbit, Element all plus none, Resurgent, the circuit. Tali fell back to Grove Orbit. The ark fell with her. The gardeners fell with her. The world trees were glowing, all of them, across the new continents. A circuit completing. The dish was a bowl of grain. Every grain was a seed from every grove. Kelp, coral, glass, vine, salt, whalebone, sand, wood, stone, glass, root, soil, light, fire, void. The elder was everyone. Old Kino, Leia, Maris, Rurk, Elder Sal, the whale, the sand, the mountain, the roots, the land, the null shard, the gardener, the watcher. Everyone ate. Tali ate. She became the circuit. She was every dish, every choice, every war, every forgiveness. She saw the ship in the dark. It was close now. It was opening. It was not a weapon. It was a hand. Everyone, choose. The seeds in her pack were hot. The 21st seed was forming, made from the bowl itself. It was a seed of choice. Chapter 19, The Quiet Course. Between, Element Silence, Resurgent Tali. There was no dish. There was no elder. There was Tali, floating above the world, holding 21 seeds. The ship hand waited. The gardeners waited. The watchers waited. The world trees waited. Tali opened her hand. She didn't plant the seeds. She released them. They fell, not down, out, in every direction, to every grove, to every ocean, to every desert, to every bunker. She chose not to choose. She chose many. The ship hand paused. Then slowly it closed. Not a fist, a cradle. Chapter 20, New Earth Bread. Everywhere, element choice. Resurgent, everyone. The seeds landed. In Grove Pacific, the kelp learned to sing new songs. In sunken Bohal, the coral grew windows. In Skydock, the storm wall became a road. In the bunkers, the people woke up, and they were mixed, human and gardener, and something new. In Toba, the sun came back, and the blind astronomers wept because they could see. On Vitris Beach, the silica grass bloomed with flowers. The dish was bread, baked in every grove, by every hand. It tasted different everywhere. but it was all bread. Tali didn't eat it. She watched, and the world ate. Together, Chapter 21, the 22nd dish. The table, element future. Resurgent, you. There is no 22nd dish. There is a table. It is the world. And there is a seat. It is empty. The world tree in Dome Bravo bloomed. Not with flowers, with doors. The groves linked up. The satellites turned into stars. The ark became a forest. The gardeners planted themselves. The watchers stopped watching. And Tali, she became a seedling again. She walks the new continents now. She doesn't carry a circuit book. She carries a bowl. And when she meets someone, she says, "What will you cook?"